Beez for Blackcraft at Chicago Open Air. Create your own future with Mr. Ben Weinman from the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yeah.
So the last time we spoke, I didn't want to talk about like the end being nigh because you just released Dissociation, and it felt like there needed to be more focus on it. But just for people who didn't know, you made the decision to kind of put a timeline on the Dillinger Escape Plan while you were making the record.
Yeah.
Was there a specific point when that time came?
Well, yeah. I mean, Billy and I, our drummer, started working on ideas. That's usually how it starts. So the other guys don't really hear a lot of the album until it's fairly developed, like the songwriting stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, most of what the other guys did was after the decision.
Right.
But a lot of what I started writing and stuff was without fully, I guess, consciously knowing, maybe subconsciously, but like, there was a point, I think we played a show in Mexico City, like a festival, like somewhere, one of those one-offs in the middle of a writing cycle.
Right.
And I just like went to the beach afterwards. I took a day, like first little vacation in years, and like sitting on the beach, and I was just like, it just came to me. I was just like, man, you ask yourself every now and again, where do I see myself in 5 years? Where do I see myself?
Right.
And for fucking 20 years, it was always the same exact place. Like, probably just made a record, probably on the road, doing the interviews, take the time off, do a record, go on the road, on the hamster wheel, And I just realized I was kind of like, in the beginning of touring, it felt like everyone at home was standing still.
Right.
And I was fucking moving and doing all this crazy shit. And then it started to feel like I was standing still and all the world was moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like, everyone's having babies and people are dying and weddings I don't even know. You know what I mean? New stores are coming up in my town I never even saw. Like, where did that come from? So I think it just hit me. I was like, I think the most exciting way to put out this album would be to know that there is an end. Like we're going out there doing this for a reason. And like, we really have to cherish every show. We really have to put everything into this album and say everything we want to say. And it was more a decision of just like, I just want everything to continue to be interesting.
Yeah.
And it was starting to get routine. And now, okay, this is fucking interesting. Now, unfortunately, it comes with the reality that like I gotta figure out what I'm doing next. Right. But that's exciting too.
Did you feel a melancholy coming into the songwriting once you'd made that decision? Because I can imagine, I'm going to ask you about how emotional an experience it is at the moment within the band, but once you'd made that decision and you hadn't finished writing, did you feel a certain melancholy sinking in? Or is it just all manic all the time?
A little bit, but I think one of the reasons why I knew this was the end, this was the perfect like bookend, the ending of this chapter of whatever it is, this Dillinger story, was because I felt for the first time making this album, particularly like, full confidence that like, I know how to make a Dillinger album. Yeah. And we make Dillinger albums. That's what we do. If we're not good at anything, we're good at this. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm not questioning it. Let's just make another one. And anytime there was some, like, question, like, are these songs good enough? Is it the right, which we've always had. Yeah. I never felt anything but, like, of course, we're Dillinger. Yeah. We're making a Dillinger record. We're good at this. We're good at making Dillinger records. I have no question. Everything else in my life, I don't know. Yeah. This, I know. So I think that in a way that showed me, okay, like we've matured into a full adult in this role, and I'm totally confident. I know what I've done. I'm happy with what I've done. I know what I can do. Now it's time to try some more uncomfortable stuff.
Right. Yeah. To be continued in a minute, but you mentioned about emotion, and like I noticed, like I saw you guys at Download, and it was the last UK show that you were playing, and I noticed like your Instagram post afterwards was really like, it had a really bittersweet feeling to it. Is that something you're feeling on stage at the moment? Because like from outside, from us, we see Dillinger and we see the Dillinger that we know and love. Right. But like, how is the emotion creeping into the live show now that like every passing show is that little bit closer towards the end? Yeah, and sometimes at the very least the last show in that country or city ever. I think I feel the same. Like when we're playing, we just feel like it's good old Dillinger. Like we're doing what we got to do. There's the moments when it hits me because if something goes wrong or my guitars break or like I missed that solo because, like I said, something broke or my guitar was fucked up or I fell and it was out of tune.
those moments upset me much more than they would have in the past.
I can imagine,
because I don't get a second chance. This is it. Like, it's the last time I'll hit this little Milk Lizard solo in my life here, you know, and I couldn't do it. So those moments are when I realize I do acknowledge that it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards is when I have to kind of sit back and be like, let me like actually think about this. That when I get in that bus or whatever and leave, I may never be here again. Like, I've been coming to this little shithole in France or Switzerland for fucking 20 years. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And like, I may never come here ever again, you know? So those kind of things I have to sit back and remind myself, like try to like at least enjoy it or, you know, take a fucking walk instead of sitting on eating, you know, M&Ms on the dirty toilet in that club.
It's bumming me out having this conversation, so I'm going to move this on a little bit. Like, because we look at, like, Greg started the Black Queen. And Liam's got John Frum going.
Exactly.
And, like, but when it comes to you, Ben, like, you know, you've done Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, and, like, there's Party Smasher, obviously. But, like, have you started thinking about life beyond the Dillinger Escape Plan and what it's going to be? Is it going to be more behind the scenes stuff, or are we going to see, like, you back on a stage in something different?
I think, you know, there's a couple things. I don't want to get too deep or anything.
Of course,
but,
there's
like,
still time.
I have no interest in being, like, famous or something.
No,
I have no
not.
interest in, like, I don't need validation from a crowd or anything. I mean, and that's where you
legacy
want, ultimately that's what you want to get to in life, where like your ego's in check. And that's like a big part of maturing throughout this whole thing. I was a fucking animal in this band. Like, seriously, like I made more enemies of people that had to work with me in my band. Like, people like then, you know, everyone's like, he's a pretty nice guy. I'm like, you've never been in my band, you know? Like, you've never...
Militant.
Right. I mean, for the first, you know, most of this band, all I cared about was Dillinger. All I cared was perfection. All I cared was destroying, conquering, so competitive. Just, you know, and part of that's good because it gets you where you are, you know, and part of that's fucking destructive as shit, you know. And so I think in like figuring out yourself through a band, you know, using the band to like figure out where I want to be and who I am. I think I finally got to the point where like I just had a baby. And that's a real exercise in learning about ego because, like, you know, like you never lose your ego. Ever. I don't care how nice you are, whatever. You still have it. But when you have a little kid and like it's about to fucking walk into the street and you will throw yourself in front of a car, that is the only time for 1 second you have no ego. That is it. Every time else you have it. If you're helping someone, you're still doing it for some kind of reason. If you give someone money, it's still ego there.
Of course.
It goes away in that instinct of like saving your kid, you know?
And a baby doesn't give a shit that you're Ben in the Dillinger Escape Plan. Exactly. It's going to shit itself right now, and you're going to clean it up.
Exactly. And if I stay in the band much longer, I'm not going to be able to not shit myself. I mean, with all the injuries and spine injuries, it's like I can barely not shit myself on the building. So anyway, I think moving forward, a lot of the stuff I'm working on is behind the scenes. Whether or not I'll play in bands or make music for someone to hear, I don't know. Really interesting.
Do you see yourself behind a board, like producing and things like that? Or?
I can only do things I really care about. I don't think I could just take money to work on a band and I'm just like, oh, Jesus.
But you've even got people like, I don't know, like Steve Albini and and Kurt Ballou and people like that always feel passionate about their project. So I always wondered if that might be a thing.
I don't know, I'm managing a little bit, but again, like only stuff I really believe in. And that I feel is creative and pushing me in different directions. I'm doing the label, which I love doing the label. That's like a passion project to me. Not something I think about money or making money, you know. I just like I'm enjoying doing that slowly and working on that. And I'm about to go live on a farm really far away from...
Really?
Yeah, so I'm kind of disappearing in a way.
Okay. Like, I wanted to ask you about, I'm going to ask a couple of people about this sort of thing over the weekend, because it feels to me at the moment like there's a renaissance for more challenging art at the moment. When you're seeing things like Code Orange doing well and bands like that, does it feel like that to you as someone that's been like at the spearhead of that over the years? Does it feel like, and you've lived through through, like, you guys coming through with Botch and all the rest of it, through fucking the last, say, 5 or 6 years where all the popular rock bands have looked like Nickelodeon presenters. like, does it feel like there's at least a hope for that kind of thing going back to being, like commercially big as well as, like, creatively viable?
I don't know. I mean, look, commercially big, I don't know, man. There's, like, it's so different now, the industry. Like, I mean, fuck, you know? Like, an album, you know, a band sells 10,000 albums, like, in the first week. That's massive for most bands, you know? So commercially big, I mean, there's just so much opportunity out there for bands, but there's so much distraction, too. But I will say that, like, I think a big part of making me feel just, like, tired of this whole scene was, like, kind of this music, and that was happening throughout, like, the like first half of 2000, you know, like 2007 to now. It's kind of like, oh man, everything's super computerized. And, like,
that's it.
Everything's sampled and on laptops, and, like, it doesn't have any soul. There's nothing punk about metal anymore. It's all, like, formulaic, and I really got tired of this whole thing. And then as I started to be like, I think it's time for us to, like, bail out, all this cool shit starts happening. Like, bands that literally just sound like they have no idea what metal's supposed to be. You know, like back in the day, like Code Orange, you know, you see these dudes like some of them be like, is that those dudes in, like, you know, fucking they're like, look like this indie kid, they're from the Children of the Corn or something, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Like, they just came out of the fucking Corn and, like, weirdos, you know, and they're playing metal, or like or like, is that chick sings like she could be in Sonic Youth or something?
Absolutely.
Or, like, you know what I mean? It's not like this caricature of what metal is supposed to be. It's like literally just like, this is what we are. And there's a lot of bands like that coming out that don't give a fuck about some amp simulator or whatever. There's like Ampeg and fucking Mesa, and it's just loud as fuck. And, like, it reminds me of when we started Jesuit and Botch and, like, real bands just fucking just getting out there and playing. So that's, I think, why I have the record label, so that I can reap the benefits of this new music that's actually becoming exciting again.
And it feels like you're contributing, even with Dillinger, like, winding down, it feels like you can still give back in that way. So we've been finishing these interviews every time we're talking about creating your own future, which I think is something that you've personified, and again, with something like Party Smasher and looking outside of just bands. Like, do you feel that that's a thing that's become more prevalent, that it's harder to break through, but it's easier to get your art out more than ever before? Do you feel like creating your own future is something that someone out there can do viably these days?
Right.
And make an impact?
Yeah, I just think it's more about the idea that if you do something that truly rises above the crop, you know, and is really special, there's a huge platform for people to find out about it and talk about it. As opposed to, like, let me find a way to talk about what I do and push it as much as possible. Oh yeah, and I'll make a record real quick. So I have, you know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of that going on for the past, 10 years, where it's like, you know, let me try and, like, get as many Facebook friends or Instagram followers more than actually the art. And I think it's hopefully getting a little more back to it with a lot of artists, where, like, let me just make some noise, and there's a huge, like, arena for people to hear it, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's exciting to me.
And is Dillinger going to make it into 2018? Like, as far as the touring is concerned?
We're ending in December.
Right.
So that is it. So I wanted it to be like an even 20. We started in 97. We wanted to go to 2017, and that's it.
Well, you've got until December to enjoy it. If it goes anywhere near you, make sure you go. Beez for Blackcraft, create your own future with Ben Weinman from the Dillinger Escape Plan.